Eliza Khan, and this is my volunteer Marina. And today I'm going to show you how to measure the angles of range of motion for each joint so that we can assess the client's flexibility. So we're going to be using a goniometer. And first we're going to start with flexion of the elbow. So the client is going to have their elbow fully relaxed. And you want to make sure that the axis of the goniometer is going to be right on the lateral aspect of that elbow. You're going to make sure that the stationary arm is going to stay where the humerus is. And then the forearm is where the moving arm is going to be. So we want to make sure that we're going to stay in line with that lateral aspect of the elbow. We're going to keep that stationary arm on the humerus, and as she flexes up, so I'm going to instruct my client to flex up. So you're going to flex all the way up, like so, all the way until you can't flex anymore. Is that as far as you can go? Okay, so now that she's fully flexed to her full range of motion, or the in range of her elbow, you're gonna take the measurements at the bottom of the goniometer. So I'll write that down. It's going to be 42 degrees flexion for the elbow. And so you wanna just make sure that you take the measurements about twice, as always. And then we also do the other side as well. We always wanna make sure that we test both joints because our bodies are asymmetrical. Next, I want to show you the shoulder flexion. So the client's gonna have this arm flat. We're gonna use that fulcrum, or the axis of rotation, for the goniometer. It's going to be right along the superior aspect of the humerus. We're gonna use that stationary arm to be on the thoracic spine. So as she moves, we wanna keep this part here, but then we're gonna keep the other part as well. So we're going to start with the lateral aspect. I'm going to show the client the movement. She's going to flex up like that. So I want you to do the movement by yourself first. So bring it down, flex that shoulder back up, like so. So what we want to try and do is maintain that midline in that shoulder for that axis of rotation. So we keep the stationary arm on the thoracic cage. We want to make sure that there's no overflaring of the rib cage as she flexes that shoulder. So we're going to get that client to bring it all the way back down. We're going to make sure the axis of rotation is then that superior aspect of the shoulder, middle of the shoulder joint. So I'm going to get you to pull that up. Like that. Okay. And so we're going to pull that up, and the degrees of flexion is going to be 20 degrees, or 340. And this is going to be the flexion of the shoulder. Next, we're going to be doing the flexion of the hip. So for this one, we want to make sure that since we're measuring the right side, we want to make sure that the left leg is relaxed and stationary on the table. She's going to be flexing that knee up, so we're going to get you to flex the knee like that. Here we go. I'm going to bring it down. So you're going to actively use that, flex that hip. So we're going to palpate for that greater trochanter of the hip, of the femur, and we're going to use that as our point of axis, or axis of rotation. So the stationary arm is going to be on the lumbar region of the spine. We're going to bring out the goniometer right along so, and as she flexes the hip, we're going to follow along with the movement side. So you're going to flex that hip, and you just want to make sure. We're going to keep that there, and that her range of motion is 105 degrees for that flexion of the hip. So we just want to make sure that as we have the stationary arm, we're going to bring the movement arm along that axis of rotation. So next, I'm going to be getting her to do knee flexion. So I'll have her to go prone on the table. So you're going to go face down. And so since we've been doing the right side, I'm just going to do the left side just to show more of an example so that you can see. So the same thing, we want to make sure that the other leg is relaxed. We're going to be flexing the knee, so it's going to be this movement. She's going to actively bring her heel to her glute, and we're going to bring back down. So the axis of rotation is going to be on the lateral side of the knee. The stationary arm is going to be on the femur, like so, and then we also want to make sure that it's zeroed out before we move the arms. So the movement arm is going to follow along the calf, so I'm going to get you to flex that arm, the knee. Okay, and so her degrees of rotation is going to be 125 degrees, and then she's going to relax that leg, and that is a flexion of the knee. All right, thank you. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you again soon.